When multiple objects are combined, we can find the volume of the entire object by adding the volume of the individual objects and getting the total volume. So what we have to do is we have to look at a shape and we have to identify the parts. So what shapes do we have here? Cylinder and rectangular prism. It looks like it's almost like a cube, but it's not quite. But so anyway, we're going to find the volume of both these things and just add them up together. So volume of a cylinder, so I'm going to put VC, is pi r squared h. Pi is pi. The radius is what? 10. Thank you. We're going to square it, multiply it by the height, which is what? 54. So when we do that, we're going to do the squaring first. So 10 squared is 100. And then we can do the rest of this in one step on our calculator. And when we do that, we will get 16,964.60. The units are millimeters, so it's millimeters cubed. That's the volume of the cylinder. We'll do the same thing to find the volume of the rectangular prism. And the volume of a rectangular prism, we just had one of these on a quiz. Length times width times height. What's the length of the rectangular prism? 30, thank you. What's the width? 25, thank you very much. And the height? 40, you betcha. So we're going to go 30 times 25 times 40. That's going to be 30,000, I believe. If my mental math is strong on a Thursday morning. So it's 30,000 cubic millimeters. So we treat them separately, and then we just add them together. So it's 16,964.60 plus 30,000, and that gives us a grand total of 46,964.60 millimeters cubed. That's our final answer. Now we'll move on to the next example. The next example is we have a shed here, and we're asked to find the volume of it. So what shapes do we have here? What's that? Beautiful. A triangular prism on top of a rectangular prism. That's it. So we need to find the volume of both of those things and add them together. So okay. So we have the volume of the rectangular prism. I guess I just could put R there, whatever. It's going to be length times width times height. That's going to be, so when I look at length, I think that 8's the length, 15 is the width, and 6.5 is the height. So it's going to be 8 times 15 times 6.5. So that's going to be, I think, please correct me if I'm wrong, 780 cubic feet for the volume of the rectangular prism. Now, for the triangular prism, it's a little bit, I don't want to say tricky, but there's a little bit of thinking we have to do here. And so first of all, when we're finding the volume of a rectangular prism, we need to figure out actually I'll make this just thicker here. There we go. We need to figure out the base. We need to figure out the height. And we need to figure out the length. Okay? So 2 of those should be fairly apparent. One of them is not super hard, but it does take a little bit of figuring out. What's the base? How much is the base? It's the same as down here, so it's going to be 8. I'm going to transition now to the length. What's the length going to be? 15, very good. The tricky one is the height. What's the height? Yeah. This whole thing's 11. And we've already established that this piece right here is 6.5. So this piece up here has to be the remainder, which is 4.5, which just makes that 4.5. Okay? So the whole height from floor to top is 11. And we know that the height of the rectangular prism is 6.5. So that allows us to figure out that the height of the triangular prism is the leftover part, which is 4.5. So, with that in mind, we can go ahead and figure out the volume of the triangular prism, because it's base times height times length all over 2. And that is 8 times 4.5 times 15 all over 2. So, I think, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you get 270 cubic feet when you multiply those 3 things and divide by 2. Is that right? Okay, cool. So that is your volume of the top part of the shed, the triangular prism part of the shed. And so to figure out the total volume, we'll just go ahead and take 780 and divide and add 270. And when we do that, we get 1,050 cubic feet.